أعوذ بالله من الشيطان اللعين الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد الإمام المهديين وسلم تسليما. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. My dear brother Hussein.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Father.
Thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Abu Sadiq. It's an honor.
The honor is all mine. So today we saw in the news, there was a news article which came out, and I think it's been out for a few days now, and it was based on a comment that the vice presidential candidate in the United States had said. And basically he said, I am afraid that people are going to, meaning the US citizens, are going to lose faith in democracy if Trump wins. Okay? So that's an interesting statement, and it's an interesting times that we're living in right now, because you have the United States of America, and the United States is known in the world right now as being the #1 democracy on the planet. Right?
Right.
And it is actively and has actively been seeking to spread democracy all throughout the world, right? And it invests billions of dollars in wars and in special operations and in the spread of American propaganda through their television or media outlets or their newspapers or their influence on different regimes and politicians all around the world in different nations, in order that they convert people from the systems of rules which they are following, whether they're theocracies or autocracies or communist governments or whatever it is, monarchies that are ruling them. They try to convert them over to becoming Democrats, people that believe in democracies, people that are allowing voting, people that are establishing a particular form of rule. And we find that in this same country at the moment, something is very interesting is taking place that really has not happened for a very long time, perhaps never in the history of the United States, and that is that the United States is disunited. It is currently the disunited States of America. They are not united on the direction whereby they want the country to go. And they are not united on the candidate or the individual that they want to lead their country. Half of the country, and that's why all the polls are saying that it is so split in the center, that all of the polls are saying that the election is going to be neck to neck. It's going to be extremely tight and close. It could go either way. Half of the country want the Democratic candidate Kamala Harris to win, and half of them want Donald Trump to win. And the vice presidential candidate made this statement saying that he's worried that if Trump wins, that Americans will lose faith. Not just Americans, but people in general will lose faith in the democratic process. And what is he saying? He's saying that the people, if Donald Trump won, he's worried that they will lose faith in the concept or the idea that the majority of the people can always make the right decision. They will lose faith in this idea that the people are always right. They will lose faith in the idea that the choice of the majority of mankind is a choice that is infallible, that will always lead to goodness, that the process itself is one which is almost divine, that requires us to put our faith into it as we would put our faith into a religion. When God Almighty appointed Moses, or he appointed Jesus, the Messiah, to rule over the Israelites as king, and as God will send Jesus a second time for a second coming, and the Christians and the Muslims believe that he will rule as a king, as the God of Islam and Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sends the Mahdi as a king to rule over the Islamic nation, and it requires the faith of the people to be firm in that choice that is made by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. The vice presidential candidate of the United States is saying that that same faith is required to be placed. We're supposed to have faith in the process of democracy and the outcome of democracy. We're supposed to have faith in the president of the United States. We have to have faith in the choice of the majority of the people, even though the Quran says if you follow the majority of the people, you will be led astray, right? And even though the Torah and the Gospels make it explicitly clear that the people, when they choose somebody, they always choose the criminal, they always choose the wrong candidate, right? Somebody who is not appointed by God. And this was demonstrated in the New Testament, as we've stated before, in the choice that the Jews made between the release of Barabbas, versus the choice of releasing Jesus Christ, their Messiah that was sent to them by God. The Jews chose Barabbas, the criminal, to be released instead of Jesus. And God was greatly offended in the Torah when he appointed Samuel as a judge over the Israelites and as his messenger and his mouthpiece to them, as his ruler over the Israelites, and they themselves objected to that and demanded that God and Samuel appoint over them a king the likes of the other nations. All right? So I just think that that's an interesting point that we point out for our viewers.
Really is, yeah.
Thank you so much, Hassan.
Thank you, Fasik.